Hello everyone and welcome to the weekly show where I share a few of the most interesting pieces of news in video games. This week we take a look at some interesting new developments with the Nintendo NX, the announcement of Sonic Mania, new details about Bethesda's upcoming game Prey, and a follow-up to last week's No Man's Sky story. This is Byte. We now have a bit more information about Nintendo's next console, codenamed the NX. Sources close to the project have confirmed with the news site Eurogamer that Nintendo's upcoming NX will be a portable handheld console with detachable controllers. They also mentioned that on the move, NX will function as a high-powered handheld console with its own display, and that the screen is bookended by two controller sections on either side, which can be attached or detached as required. The report goes on to mention that the NX will then dock to a base station connected to your television for big screen gaming. Other sources also told Eurogamer that the console will be relying on cartridges instead of discs like with the GameCube, Wii, and Wii U. Now, there are a lot of advantages to going with cartridges, like generally more durable media, as well as significantly decreasing load times. Another detail to note is that despite Nintendo yet again choosing to focus on gameplay experience instead of entering the graphical fidelity race alongside the Xbox One and PS4, which I'm super okay with, it now seems that there might be an internal delay for the console in order to incorporate a more advanced X2 Tegra chip in place of the assumed X1 chip. Nintendo utilizing the more advanced graphics chip is what is most likely delaying the console release from fall 2016 to March 2017. Now, there's a good chance that this choice is in response to Nintendo's last quarter's earnings report, where they saw a $48.7 million operating loss. I believe that Nintendo is feeling the burn, and they know there's a lot riding on this next console. It seems like they're doing everything in their power to ensure the NX is a success. I just hope they realize that they need to focus on good games rather than novelty gimmicks. I'm personally very excited for the potential of the NX, and I'm down for it being a portable, as long as it can bring it when it comes to couch gaming experiences. And for the love of God, don't make me wave something around. Speaking of what might happen to Nintendo if the NX fails, Sega has finally announced a game that we can actually get excited about. One of the more memorable announcements from last week's San Diego Comic-Con was a new 2D retro side-scrolling adventure game called Sonic Mania. It appears now that with countless failed attempts at bringing Sonic to the 3D world, Sega is returning to its 2D roots in hopes to make a comeback. The game retains much of the classic's gameplay, featuring fast speeds, rings to collect, and loops, but also features some new abilities. You can play as Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles, and while Sonic Mania is a completely original title, it'll surely take you right back to those ye olde Sega Genesis days. The game is currently in development with a spring 2017 release date and will debut on all current-gen platforms including PC, Xbox One, and PS4, and interestingly for the Nintendo NX as well. With the launch of the NX reportedly delayed until March 2017, Sonic Mania is lining up nicely to be one of the console's launch titles. This week we also learned some more details about the upcoming game Prey, a new shooter announced by Bethesda during E3. The game is currently in development by Arcane Studios, and in a video posted to their YouTube page earlier this week, we learned that the game will have no ties to the original title by the same name, and is in fact more of a reimagining of the IP. Also, while the game is a shooter, combat will not be the central focus. In the video, Ralph Colantonio, creative director of Arcane Studios, mentioned that it's important to note that it's not just about shooting. It's more like a hybrid game with narratives mixed with action, mixed with a little bit of RPG layer. You have weapons, but also powers that you can learn from the aliens. The game is also described as not horror, but a psychological thriller, and it will be all about your character's identity. I have to say that Prey is looking more and more interesting the more we learn about it. The game is also being compared to other popular games like System Shock 2 and even Half-Life 2. The game is also stressed to be a simulator, meaning that most gameplay moments won't be scripted, leading to many different potential experiences and outcomes. I'll leave a link to the video in the description. It's definitely worth a watch if you're interested in the game. Prey is planned for release in 2017 on PC, Xbox One, and PS4. And finally, I want to wrap things up with a follow-up to last week's No Man's Sky story. In that video, I mentioned that No Man's Sky was enduring yet another legal battle, this time over the alleged super formula that powers the entire game. Well, it turns out that my hunch about the patent owners not having a leg to stand on was in fact the case. Sean Murray, the game's creator, tweeted out that No Man's Sky doesn't actually use this super formula thing or infringe on a patent. This is a non-story. everybody chill. While the idea for the game might have been inspired by this patented super formula, it seems like that's as far as they took it. No Man's Sky is releasing on August 9th, and you can bet I'll be featuring it heavily on my channel. In fact, I created a Twitter poll to see how much No Man's Sky you guys actually want to see on my channel. Click the link in the description to submit your vote. Anyways, that wraps up what I think were the most interesting pieces of news. Are you as intrigued at the new details for the NX as I am? Do you think Sonic Mania is as big a deal as Sega is making it out to be? And what are your thoughts on Prey? Leave them in the comments below. Drop a like if you are enjoying Game Byte, subscribe for more videos, and I will see you all next week for another episode of Game Byte.